audible through it. Uh, so we are going to be talking about Alzheimer's and dementia today. So as we know, we do get, as we go older, the normal older brain is still quite capable of learning and remembering. But what happens is, as certain people, there is something known as cognitive impairment, which is basically change in how a person remembers things, reacts to emotions, or behaves. So that is known as cognitive impairment. So it's not only about remembering, it's about how the person thinks, reacts to emotions, or behaves. And then to usually when the decline starts, as far as the memory decline starts, we tend to then, of course, maybe that will be manifested by increasing of the forgetfulness, and a bit of attention is lost, and reduced ability to actually solve the problems. Now, what actually happens between normal age-related memory changes and symptoms which are suggestive of dementia or cognitive impairment? Now, normally you will be, when you have age-related memory changes, you'll be able to function independently, do your normal activities. Maybe you will have occasional memory lapses, but that is very occasional. But if you have dementia, then simple tasks will be difficult. Forgetting how to do things that you have done a lot of times, so you will forget that. Then able to recall and describe incidents of forgetfulness is not gone. In normal age-related memory changes, you will still be able to recall. But in cognitive impairment, you will be unable to recall, and specific instances in which memory loss causes problems. So you will not be able to recall. Then in normal age-related memory changes, you might be still may pause to remember the directions, do not get lost in familiar places. But in dementia, you will get lost, get disoriented in familiar places, unable to follow any directions whatsoever. Then occasional difficulty to find the right word, but no trouble having a conversation as far as normal age-related memory changes will be there. But in symptoms suggestive of dementia, words will be frequently forgotten. They will be misused, sometimes garbled. You will not understand they will not understand what the person is saying. Repetitive in conversation and not realizing that you have actually uttered those things before. Then judgment and decision making, that is making ability, is always intact as far as normal age related changes are concerned. But in symptoms suggestive of cognitive impairment and dementia, you will have trouble making choices. Then poor judgment will be there, and socially inappropriate behavior can also be there. Now, dementia is actually acquired. So it can have issues with memory, taking uh, taking decisions is difficult, attention goes, language goes. Then of course you know the various types. There is an Alzheimer's dementia, dementia with Lewy bodies, Parkinson's. There is reversible causes of dementia like hypothyroidism, vitamin B12 deficiencies, vitamin folic acid deficiencies, then subdural hematomas, which is usually collection of blood in the brain. Now, what can happen in dementia? One is memory loss, poor concentration, speech language difficulties, inability to recognize self and others, total confinement to bed, disturbance in gait can happen. Now, the problem happens in a lot of times with the behavioral and psychological problems that can actually happen when dementia. Now, that is also very common in Alzheimer's. It can happen in Alzheimer's. So, there could be agitation, personality change, abnormal eating behavior, wandering around, mood disorders, anxieties, phobias, fears, then restlessness, hallucinations, a lot of aggression, shouting, rage, hypersexuality, not having any inhibition at all, total disinhibition, then resisting care, repeating stories again and again, sometimes screaming, taking clothes off in inappropriate places, and even smearing fecal matter. So these can be very distressing symptoms as far as caregivers are concerned. Now, what about Alzheimer's per se? In Alzheimer's, onset is very insidious, and the impairment of memory is typically reported as the first symptom. So it can be that is the first thing which glaringly comes as, yeah, the memory loss is happening. The course is usually slow, but suddenly there will be but there is a steady decline from the previous level of memory, and then more and more things like language, knowing where you are, directions, all those things will get affected. Usually attention goes, language goes, your social judgment goes, your speed of walking goes, thought process goes, and where you are, what you are doing, repetition, those all things will come in. Unfortunately, they can also be, as I mentioned, be accompanied by mental and behavioral symptoms such as depressed mood, apathy initially, and then suddenly when the progression happens, it could be having psychotic symptoms like irritability, aggression, confusion, and even seizures. Unfortunately, no disease modifying drugs have been entirely done. I mean, the only drugs which we have is to just decelerate the progression, basically just slow it down. So there are certain medications which can be given, but they are only for mild to moderate dementia. When it gets severe, it becomes very difficult. Now the drugs are in two classes, of course. One is anticholinergic inhibitors, which is donepezil, and NMD antagonists, which is mementin. And antipsychotics and antidepressants might have to be given together purely because then a lot of behavioral and psychological symptoms can also take place. Now, what is important is how do we help out? Because living with Alzheimer's and dementia is not easy. So it depends on the stage that the particular person actually presents. So what we obviously try to do is improve the patient's memory, cognitive functioning. So how do we do that? We tell the carers that you should regularly provide them information about the day, date, time, names of people. Use materials like newspapers, radios, TV programs, family albums, household items to promote the communication, orient patients, stimulate memories. Then use short, simple sentences. Now, communication with people with dementia and Alzheimer's is very important. You can't be very quick. You can't be giving leading questions. You can't be confusing them. Try to minimize noises. If there is a radio, TV, any other conversation happening, just cut it off and just concentrate on talking to them. And please listen carefully to what the person has to say. Keep things simple, avoid changes to the patient's routine as far as possible. And we should never, of course, expose any kind of Alzheimer's patients or dementia patients to new bewildering, that's the word, bewildering places in which they will just get confused and they'll be like, oh my god, where am I? And then that confusion will just worsen. Now, caregivers of dementia patients are also living with dementia. So that is the topic today. So we as doctors obviously have to see what the impact is, especially do they need support? What is the support they have in family life, employment, social activities? And it's acknowledgement that yes, it is not easy to take care of patients with dementia, because it is not. So they should be always encouraged to respect the dignity of people with dementia. The reason I'm saying is it is still a person out there, and avoid any hostility which can happen purely because of the frustration of taking care of that. And all carers should always be encouraged, which I always do, is to seek help themselves. uh, See that there is no difference between dementia and Alzheimer's. Dementia is what I told you. Alzheimer's is a type. So Alzheimer's is one of the most common type of dementia. Then we need to we need to encourage the carers to actually go to anybody. It could be the doctor, it could be a relative. Attend support groups for dementia patients, purely because other carers might be taking care in another way. So you can exchange ideas, because these are all very important things to decrease the caregiver stress. Then your own mental health is very important. All the information about dementia when you're taking care of a person is very important. If needed, you should get training. You should have support, especially from professional caregivers, because you can't do everything. Let me be very frank. And of course, if at all you need any financial aid or you need any social help, then that particular thing has to be analyzed as far as we are concerned. Because taking care of a person with Alzheimer's, especially the worst stage in which there is a lot of behavioral component can be very, very difficult to handle. And it is very important that as a team, as the doctor and the caregiver, we are able to take care of it. Now, what is important is the stage in which they actually come. So if it's still mild to moderate, things can be workable. Especially there have been a lot of studies recently of non-pharmacological interventions, because as I told you, the drug cupboard in dementia has been pretty dry for years together now. So especially what has been seen is drugs. I mean, there has been music therapy, there has been exercise, there has been art therapy, there has been craft therapy. So those all things have been initiated, and there are a lot of organizations which actually do that as well. Of course, when the behavioral and psychological symptoms of dementia set in, then it becomes slightly difficult to handle, and a lot of times the relatives are forced to actually take older persons with severe symptoms not to homes. Now, homes which are specific for dementia, why? Because they actually be cared better, and it's not always easy to take care at home. Now, especially it has happened like people go to the kitchen, they have actually put the gas on and then forgotten about it. So those things are very, very important, and that can actually lead to a disaster, not only for themselves but for the caretakers and other home people. So it is never shunning away the person with dementia. No, that's not the way it is thought of. It is to provide them better care, something that you can't do because everybody has a limit. So professionals are there for a reason, so they would take better care. And this is a very difficult decision because it becomes a decision of conscience. It becomes as if, and a lot of, a lot of people say a lot of things. But ultimately, I think the caregiver always has to take that calculated decision. No, that if better care is available, then they should be going there. And of course, visits to the older persons in dementia homes are is very much valid, and everybody visits also, and they're taken good care of. And more homes like this are springing up throughout India. So that is also something which is, I think, very important. So overall, the bottom line I would still say is it's not to wait till your memory impairment gets bad. Get yourself tested. Get yourself tested with memory testing, which can be done. I mean, I do it, the neurologists do it. It's a very short test depending upon your symptoms. Of course, if you have symptoms, then we'll do detailed testing. But even if you don't have, there are two ways of looking at it. One is if you have it, then we detect it earlier, we can help you better. If you don't have it, at least mentally you know that you don't have it, because almost everybody, I'm very sure, forgets some things or the others, and it comes back to them. Now you need to train your brain also. Brain gets really bored. So try to do things which challenge the brain. Try to learn new things. My first statement was the older brain is also capable of learning. So make sure that it keeps learning. Whether it's a new language, it's a new skill, it's a new cooking recipe, uh, brushing with your left hand if you're a right-hander, writing with your left hand if you're a right-hander. All these things, even small things like these, are very important. Try to keep stress away from your life. It can never go off. Try to do whatever helps you, whether it's writing a poetry, writing a diary. Keep yourself calm. Then try to, if you forget things, try to do as you used to do in school. You used to write down things. So try to reinforce in the best way you can. Visual cues also help. For example, put notes on the wall that these are the things I have to buy, these are the things are left. Because to this date, a lot of people I know, I mean, they actually don't even need. I mean, for me, if I don't have the phone book of my mobile, I will not remember numbers. But everybody else does. Our parents do, because they didn't have phone books. They actually wrote down every number and they still remember it. So you need to actually reinforce things and try to keep the brain fresh. So that is, I think, the bottom line of trying to tell you how to. Once dementia sets in, then of course things get more and more difficult. And our job, along with the team of the caregiver and others, is to make sure that the progression can be halted and at least taken into a plateau phase, wherein the person is safe. Of course, if worsening happens, then we have to obviously change the treatment models. So thanks a lot for your patient hearing. If you have any questions, then I'm more than ready to take them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, doctor. If I have allowed everybody to unmute. If anybody has a question for the doctor, please unmute yourself, ask the question, and mute yourself again.
I
Any
have a
questions?
question. I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, see, actually, I'm attending this meeting is because my mother is facing dementia, and and there's nobody in my family. I don't have relatives or anyone who can help me and support me, and I do get violent at times. The whole day I'm okay, but then it becomes really too much of pressure on me. I even thought of keeping in a home, but then after doing the survey, I realize it's very expensive. So it has to even my pockets don't agree. So I mean, the thing is that there is no other way except for me taking care of her. She is undergoing a doctor's treatment also, and she has other complications too. Now, can you tell me that all what you said, I agree, because I have two doctor friends who keep brushing my brains up. Like, whenever I'm depressed, tired, angry, violent, I become an animal. And then again, I calm myself down because after all, she's my mother. I do love her. But like, as you said, that these dementia homes, are there any such charitable homes with some minimize of medication where we have to give? Because everyone cannot afford.
See, Bob, as far as that is concerned, yes, more and more. For example, I mean, Alzheimer's. There is ARDSI, which is the Alzheimer's Research and Dementia Society of India. So, I mean, I can get in touch. I mean, get you touch with them. They will be able to help you with care homes. And as far as dementia care is concerned, it is expensive because it is a tedious job. You know it. It's not easy, and the reason obviously financially it is more, and it really pulls your pockets, because most people obviously sort of say that as well. But then yeah, there are the thing is, you want quality of care to be at least good, which is obviously your goal, because ultimately it is your mother. So that is something which will always be there, and I think we can get in touch with you with them. And if at all, there are subsidy homes as well. But then the thing is, you need to be convinced whether it's good enough. I mean, that is one of the most important things as a caregiver, because unless if you're not convinced, then you obviously would want to look for more. But yeah, there are a lot of homes. There are homes even in Navi Mumbai. uh, there are homes which are obviously lesser expensive, and yeah, the care is good. It's not that the care is substandard, but then that is something you need to see. So obviously I can get you connected with them, no problems.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Doctor, how do I contact you? Or
Yeah, actually you can get my number through Mr. Saleh. He'll give it to you. No problems.
Yes.
Miss?
Doctor,
Sheena, you can write to us. You can write to us at Tare Social, and I'll connect you to Dr. Prem.
Actually, I don't have any of these
Uh,
numbers. Somebody forwarded me this meeting today. That's how I joined the
so
meeting.
in the meeting, in the meeting is my number. Please write to me, and I will get back to you.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? We have time for one more question before the doctor has to leave. Any other
yes,
questions?
yes,
No, somebody
doctor.
was
Yeah,
asking.
doctor, can I ask you something? Doctor, Hannah is speaking. Hello, hello, doctor, can you hear
Yes,
me?
Anna auntie.
Yeah, I
See,
can hear you.
for me, remember just cannot remember what I read. Again I read, I write it down. It has to be such a continuous process for the same thing. And then slowly, I remember, but I again get confused after some time. So it is that I'm going in for this or doing sometimes things like that day I have to dial Tare Social, but I dial my daughter, you know, and my granddaughter told me, Mom, Nana, what are you doing? You are joining Tare Social at 5 o'clock. Where are you dialing auntie's number? So this some of this kind of a things I do. But is it that I'm going in for this dementia or some?
Yeah, Hannah aunty, actually, it's very difficult to say purely on this because obviously the testing will have to be done. But I would still say that you have the realization that it's actually happening. One, and two is you are still working hard on actually getting a memory better. So I wouldn't say it should be really a problem, but you need to get tested. If you have doubts, you need to get tested through the memory testing, and that, of course, can be done separately. But that's the way it will work.
Yeah, I got it
I mean,
tested. They asked me a lot of mathematical questions, and I was able to answer them.
Yeah,
you know,
so
9 plus 7 is what, and then 16 plus 7 is how much, and I was able to give them the answers. So they are feeling that no, there is nothing like that.
So if you have been tested, then just continue to actually keep doing those memory aids which help you keep remember, and that should be enough for the moment.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Chaudhary, you had a question for
yes,
Dr. Prem.
Doctor, what I have seen a number of cases of Alzheimer's, and I find that it is very taxing for the caregivers. Do we have any groups or any where they can have these sessions where they can also be counseled as to how to manage these patients? Because it's really at the end of it, after a few months or years, it's really very taxing for the caregivers, and they also have to be looked after. So could you advise regarding?
Yeah, there are plenty, and the good part is there is actually plenty of groups who are working on this. There is something known as caregiver sathi. There is something known as eco healthy aging. These are all groups which actually try to concentrate not only on the person but also on the caregiver. Now, caregiver sathi per se actually works only on the caregivers because they are a support to the caregiver. So I think you can see through it, and I think if you want, you can actually be connected. You can get in touch with Mr. Saleh. I think he can connect you with caregiver sathi, and you can sort of help them out because it's highly essential trying to train. And we also, I also sort of talk and I also train. We do a lot of training courses as well. Now the thing is, it's important to train the caregivers how to take care of the patient is one, and how to take care of themselves, because ultimately I think themselves are the ones who get really neglected, and they don't realize that when they neglect themselves, the care obviously gets affected.
Yes, mentally and physically they get drained.
So there are groups, and these two which I mentioned, caregiver sathi, I think is definitely something that can be taken up.
I can connect you to caregiver sathi after this call. I will write to you specifically, Dr. Chaudhary.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Saleh. It's a wonderful session. Thank you, doctor. Very well explained and very, very helpful for the people to understand what you have said in simple language. Your sessions are really very, very educative to the senior citizens. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we won't have time for any more questions. I apologize. Doctor has to go for a patient call. Thank you very much, doctor, once again. I think this was a very important session. I think what I'm going to do after this session is I'm going to, if for anybody who wants more information, wants to get connected to the doctor specifically for his professional consultation or to caregiver Sathi, write to me at Tare Social, and I will connect you one-on-one. The second thing is that this will also be put onto our website. So in case you want to listen to this again, specifically about the different symptoms of dementia and Alzheimer's, you can actually go through this again by the end of day. Having said that, thank you very much, everybody, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.